Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name's Billy,
And I'm Bridget.
and this is Sibling Rivalry Sports. This episode, we are going to be talking about some of the names the Kings have been linked to this off season. If you haven't already, please hit the like and subscribe down below. Will be greatly appreciated. So, some of the names that the Kings have been linked to so far this offseason, names that are still available, are Kyle Kuzma, Ingram, Markkanen, DeRozan, and on a smaller front, Levine. What are some of the names that kind of excite you on a Kings fan level that make you excited about this year?
Yeah, I think I'm joining your team at this point. Kyle Kuzma would be a great addition. I think his contract is great. He would be a great addition, obviously, to the team. He's a great player. And I think just for what it would cost to get him, it makes sense. I think that's a deal that we should be able to get done. Of course, we haven't yet. So here we are, like all
Yeah.
twiddling our thumbs.
Oh,
And I think this podcast is, we'll just consider it a collective group therapy for Sacramento Kings fans, that we're all just like sitting on pins and needles, hoping that we're going to get big news soon about, next season.
it feels like every minute just going through Twitter. Something new, something. Come on now.
And
And then
so many rumors, like you shared, there's so many names out there. And at first it was exciting.
yeah,
And now the more names that come up and the longer we're waiting, the less I have faith that they're going to do something.
yeah.
But the good news is, Kings fans, that all of those names that BJ just shared are still available in one sense. Like, those are trades that could still happen, or with DeRozan assigning. So, um,
Well, and here's the
it's
thing
like
too.
not all hope is lost. There's only been a couple of trades that have impacted our
Yeah.
opportunities. And so it can still happen. It's just that like drag and the waiting period that is like, it's getting pretty tough at this point.
Well, and here's the thing: we knew going into the offseason we weren't going to get any free agents. So the fact that all these free agent names have come off the board, it doesn't really affect us because we weren't going we had no chance at them anyways. So going into this offseason, our biggest free agent was obviously Malik Monk.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like we're not going to get any free agents. Our biggest, the only way we were going to make or improve this offseason were by trades. So the fact that it's winding down on free agency, it's like that doesn't matter because only thing we were ever going to do was trades. So that's not the big thing. It's now down to a couple names like, okay, can we get this player? Can we get that player? And there's been a couple big names that the Kings have been linked to.
More
And
recently.
yeah, Markkanen and Ingram. And
Yeah.
here's a stat from of those two players. And if you look at it, they're practically the same.
They're
Like
pretty similar. Yeah.
there's really not much of a difference between them. Uh, Ingram's a little younger; he's a year younger, but there's the biggest difference that's going to be between them two is how much are they going to be worth? How much do the Kings have to give up to get them?
I just
And
looked up one stat that's not on here before I move on, is
yeah,
height. Markkanen is
oh,
7 foot.
yeah,
Ingram is 6'8". Does that make a
oh,
difference to you?
not really because they're both going to be playing the same position. They'll both be the four. But I mean, in that case, Ingram seems taller because he's so tall and lanky.
Mm-hmm.
So if they did go small ball, he could play the five. If Dumas is out, he could slide to the five. But uh,
Come on,
so
Thomas.
he's yeah, he's 7 foot, so he can easily play the seven. Even we wouldn't have to even call it small ball if he played
Right.
or
Yeah.
played the. But
Okay. Wanted to mention that because I know
yeah,
that's been a sticking point for you is height.
but Ingram and also Ingram's hurting a lot more, it seems like, the Markkanen. That's another
Mm.
thing I didn't put in there is how many games have been played. But yeah, I think it's a 3 inch difference, which isn't a major thing. It's not like a 6'7" and a 6'2" guy.
Yeah.
But
Well, another thing they both have in common, though, is that they'll be free agents after next season,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Only 1 year left on their contracts.
Yeah. So it comes down to who the Kings feel like they wouldn't. So to me, I feel like Markkanen, they would have to give up a lot more to get instead of Ingram.
Yeah. So I just saw that story that said they think the Kings only have, or the Jazz only have a 10% chance of even trading Markkanen. And so if
Yeah,
that's the case, it would probably take a pretty sweet deal for
yeah.
them to move him.
And we've all read that the Jazz want uh Murray. And it's like the Kings aren't going to give up Murray for
God, I
a
hope not.
yeah. It's all us Kings fans. As soon as we hear that, we're like, no, move on. Do it next. Like we're not going to give up Murray. Like no. And it's like if Murray's involved, then no, like
Right.
it's not going to happen. And I feel like that's why Ingram, there's a better chance of getting him because it wouldn't take as much to get him. I don't feel like. But the problem is he going to be a rental? Like you can't
Mhm.
trade big people for just a rental.
Yeah. I mean, I think that would depend a lot on how the season goes also. If it's a great season and maybe they make it to the second round of the playoffs, he sees some spark. I think we get a lot of kind of benefit of the doubt when players come here and probably play under Coach Brown and like meet Vivek and like, get kind of ingratiated into the culture. Like, I think that goes a long way,
Yeah. They don't
gaining the
have
goodwill,
problems.
but we also need to have the success. And
Yeah.
so if a big player like Ingram comes to the team and that success doesn't follow, I could easily see them leaving after just one season if their contract expires.
And similar to like Monk, he was a free agent. He resigned. The Kings don't seem to have problems re-signing their own free agents. Like
Yeah.
even going back to the Chris Webber days, he was a free agent. They were able to re-sign him. A
Hmm.
bunch of players, once they come here, they're able to re-sign them. Like Dumas, he was about to be a free agent. They were able to extend him last year. So I feel like once players come here, it seems a lot easier for them to resign. But people just won't come here as a free agent. I want to say the
Yeah.
biggest free agent name the Kings ever have gotten was probably Rajon Rondo. And he basically that's when the Kings sucked, and he basically used them to leverage into a contract for the next year because he played so well that it came into a bigger contract the following year for him.
Hmm.
But it's going to be an interesting, continuous offseason to see what the Kings can do.
Yeah. And reports are saying there is a deal on the table for Markkanen. So the Kings have presented an offer along with the Warriors and the Spurs. But like I said, the Jazz may decide they don't want to move Markkanen at all. So
Yeah.
that's certainly far from being a sure thing. And we're all just going to have to keep playing this waiting game and
Yeah.
hope that
Cross the
Monty comes
fingers. Come
through with
on.
something. But I think in the meantime, there's one thing we can all agree on, and that's that we got to do something. So, like running it back, like I said in our conversation earlier, if the biggest move that happens this offseason is that Malik Monk is now a starter instead of coming off the bench, like that's not good enough. That
No.
is not what we need to see out of this offseason. We need another piece added. And you and I were divided on this all last season. You were like trade Barnes, I'm trade Herder. Like, I think the bottom line is we cannot have another season where both of those players are still on our roster.
Yeah.
They don't both have to be gone, but I think one of them has got to
One
move.
of them's got to
We
hit
need
the
to step up in one of those areas in order to become like serious playoff contenders next season.
Yeah. Everyone in the West is improving except for us.
Yep.
And it's like you can't run this back a third time. Like it
No.
obviously it didn't work last year. It's
And we
not
can't run
gonna
it
work.
back just by having a better bench either. Like
Yeah,
doing the small moves, signing two-way players, like that's
yeah,
not going to get the job done because that's all we've seen so far in terms of actual materialization. Now let's get rid of these rumors,
yeah.
stop enough
Let's make
rumors.
something happen. Because
Let's
I
yeah,
think if
let's
they
just
don't
match.
do anything, if they don't do anything again this offseason, there's gonna be a riot in Sacramento of Kings fans being like, "What's going on? We need to do
Yeah,
something."
or like season ticket sales plummeting
Yeah,
because
but there is. I will say one thing though: you can't make a move just to make a move.
right.
That's a you can't just jump like, oh, you know what? Let's trade Keegan for this player just to make a move. Like, no, you have to make a calculated big move. Don't just make a huge move just to make a move. But
Yeah, and I think we've seen like a lot of the players that are, rumored to be connected with trade talks make sense in a lot of ways. So I guess in a way that's encouraging, but um yeah, I agree with you. We need to see some calculated smart
yeah,
decisions being made, but like let's see some decisions being made.
if they do end up trading for Kuzma, I'll throw a party at my house. We're going to the dawn, break of dawn.
Well, that and then also if a trade doesn't happen this offseason, I think we all went into last season with higher expectations than we've had as Kings
Yeah,
fans in a
oh for
very
sure.
long time, coming off of our first playoff run.
It felt weird to be.
And
Oh my gosh, we're
this
good.
season, if we're running it back, like those expectations are going to go down. Like we
Oh
are
yeah,
not going to have the same expectations for this season that we had going into last season.
yeah.
And that's just as a fan disheartening and not something you want to see, you know, with your franchise, especially a franchise like the Sacramento Kings. We've been through enough. Like
Yeah.
Sacramento Kings fans are tired. Let us win. Like
Like, we need something
give,
positive to
give us
happen.
some hope, okay?
It's like, come on, please, something. I will say, at least the Lakers haven't had that great of an offseason either. So it's like, well, I guess we could be them. We could be getting ran by a player,
Well,
not
and
the
the
front office.
Warriors are
Yeah,
also in a pretty
shambles.
tough position.
Yeah.
So
So I mean, could be worse, I guess, but not saying much because as of right now, I don't think either three of these teams make the playoffs. So
right.
at
Yep.
best, they're play-in teams, but
Yep. That's not the company we want to be in. So
no, not at all. So hopefully within the next week, hopefully we'll have another one here in a couple days, an emergency one, because
if
we,
some news comes out, we're on standby.
yep, just keep waiting. Like, and hopefully it's not while I'm at work. That would kind of suck. But cross our fingers. Hopefully, here in the next couple days, we have a new player. Let us know in the comments down below who you guys would prefer and why. And if you guys don't think any of those players make an improvement and you don't mind running it back, let
Let
us
us
know
know.
down below.
Let us know if we're wrong. I
Yeah,
thought this was a consensus from Kings
yeah.
fans, but
Maybe there's a player we haven't mentioned that you guys think would be better. Uh, just let us know down below. If you haven't already, please hit the like and subscribe. Leave comments. Until the next show, we will see you guys later.